Hello guys and welcome back to the Mokey channel. We have a little time jump today. We jump from the year 2002 to the year 2005 and maybe join the greatest format Yu-Gi-Oh! Ever created in their history. This format is of course GOAT format. So I brought you a little deck here today. This is my take on Chaos Turbo and let me show its features. So Chaos Turbo is basically a really fast deck. It thins out their deck really quick by drawing and getting through a lot of stuff, and you will see in a few seconds what I mean by that. So of course we start with the biggest, best monster card in this format, which is of course BLS. BLS is just so good, banishing, attacking twice, so important. Usually you see in Chaos Turbo 3 Chaos Rushers, I prefer 2. I think the third one is a little bit cloggy. You dig so fast through your deck. Sometimes I just had never the need for the third one. So I always see Chaos Sorcerer on BLS anyway in the duel. And I never had the issue where like, oh, I need a third Chaos Sorcerer right now. So I basically cut the third one. And you can think about that what you like. I like, of course, Jinzo. Jinzo is really important. If you play big monsters, you want to force your way through. Jinzo just makes your opponent's trap really useful against you. And you can basically kill your opponent really fast if they don't have any goats. And then, if your opponent have goats, you play, of course, Pashev. Pashev has a trembling effect. He has piercing damage. He lets you draw one card. He is light. It's really good. So, you need him in your deck if you want to see more cards. And then, we play 3 Thunder Dragons. Thunder Dragon is actually pretty nice. Maybe a little odd choice if you look in it from the today perspective of the format, but back then he was really useful. He gains you a card advantage in your hand. He's an instant +1. He puts 1 light in your graveyard, and he's basically a really good protection against Delinquent Duel. But also he makes card like Graceful Charity really useful, and even more useful than they were before. But card destruction with this card is not a -1 but a 1/1. So any kind of card that uses discarding effects is really good with this card, and this deck uses a lot of them, so this is why this card is really useful. And also having instant light in your graveyard is important. Breaker spell and trap removal, really good. DD Warrior Lady, any kind of removal from an opponent's monsters, really good. Blight Knight, really important in this deck because Chaos monsters can stop your opponent's plays and aggros in their tracks, but if they play a lot of flip effect monsters, you need some kind of answers, and Chaos Sorcerer cannot banish face downs, and you need a monster that can clear out flip effects, and he's basically really good in that regard. And also he's a really great card in the late game by boosting himself to 2000 attack points if you have only 1 card or less in your hand. So he can become a really big beater, which is really useful. 1 Assure Priest, he's just a great offensive aggro card. He clears goats, he clears opponents' boards by just attacking into them. He clears recruit engines because he can attack another recruiter, another recruiter, another recruiter. The opponent cannot stall like this. The only recruiter engine that basically beats him is the Vampire Lord Pyramid Turtle engine, or maybe a Ryokuki if he wants to float in a Ryokuki. But basically he can run into Mystic Tomato, another Mystic Tomato, another. So your opponent cannot protect against him. You understand? So if you want to push for a game, even though your opponent has face down scapegoats, you summon this guy and you can clear your way through. And then we have 1 Tribe Infecting Virus. Tribe Infecting Virus is really useful. He has not a once per turn restriction, so you can go for it and go for it and go for it and go for it. He can clear out basically anything. This is why he's really important. Discarding is not a problem. As we already saw, we have Thunder Dragon, but we also have Sinister Serpent, another great card to discard. Not only that, but also really good with Graceful Charity and also Delinquent Duel protection. And then we have Tsukiyomi. Tsukiyomi is basically starting off the flip effect engine, but also Tsukiyomi is a really good out card against your opponent. Thousand Eyes, Restrict, and any kind of effect monster that has a permanent effect. This is really annoying, so Tsukiyomi can take care of that. And a lot of opponent's monsters have low defense, so she can run basically over something like Breaker, Trap, Infecting Virus, and so on. So she can even clear stuff. You can use her aggressive and passively. This is why she's really useful. Sometimes people play more than one. I like to play in Chaos Turbo only one. In other decks I like to play two. And then we play, I call these guys the first turn openers. People sometimes play multiple of them, like 3 Koichi, or 2 Imitators or 2 Merchants, but you don't see a lot of times they are all played together like this. But I prefer not to play like 3 Koichi or 3 Imitators or 3 Merchants or just 2 or 2. Or, I like to play 1 1 1 because we already dig through our deck really fast and we don't want to get hit that hard by opponent's Null Man of Crossouts. So if you play 3 Koichis and you get Null Man of Crossouts, it hurts your deck a lot. But if you play 1 1 1, you see efficient enough, one of them actually, as an opener, and you don't get hurt that much by an opponent's Null Man of Crossouts. And they basically have similar effects, drawing one, and milling till you get the next spell and trap card, which is actually like a draw, but you get a spell or trap, which is really useful. And you want to keep your flip effect engine alive, because I will show you with another card at the end of the flip effect engine why that is important, why we don't get banished so many. We play, of course, Double Magician of Faith. You have these first turn openers because you don't want to set Magician of Faith usually in the first turn and just recycle any spell, because you want to use Magician of Faith really cleverly, really cunningly, because he's really important and you don't want him to get banished with the Null Man of Crossouts, so you have to use him in a clever way. And we play 1 Morphing Jar. As I said, discarding is no problem. We have Sinister Servant, we have Thunder Dragon, we want to see cards. This is why we play this. Sometimes people say, oh, you don't need to play this, but in this format, not only in this format, but in this deck, in this format, you have to play him because you just want to see and go on, and discarding is actually no cost for you. And then we play the last card that makes discarding really good, which is Night Assailant. Night Assailant can target a flip effect monster in your graveyard and recycle him. You cannot target himself, but he can target another one, so you can instantly loop him back to your hand, which is an infinite loop for Night Assailant. So he can target not himself, but another one is in the graveyard. He can target that. And also, this is why we play 1 1 1 of the other engine, because we can basically have more cards in our graveyard that are recyclable with this. If we lose 3 cards, 3 flip effect monsters instantly by Null Man of Crossouts, this card gets a lot worse in your deck. But this makes discarding cards, discarding engines so much better. He can recycle Magician of Faith, and this could be a game-changing event. We play the holy trinity of this format. Power spells are important. These are the greatest game-changer cards. Of course, people say, and I agree, that GOAT format is basically the format where the better player wins, but these 3 cards are so powerful, so game-changing, that even though this format is regarded as a skill format, they can change really fast the fate of this duel. And you have to play them. There's no way you cannot play them. And then we play Patrick Hoban 101. We go for Upset Goblins. As I said already, this deck wants to see cards. These are just getting faster to your cards. See even more card destruction. Discarding is no problem. Yeah, Snatch, Steal, and Barrier. Just really powerful spells. You want to have them in your deck. Really useful. Recycling them with Magician of Faith makes them even more useful. And yeah, they are also game-changing cards. Losing to Snatch Steal is just one of the saltiest things ever that can ever happen to you. Just imagine you have BLS, we're winning the game, and your opponent top decks Snatch Steal and attacks you for a game. You will hate your life. One Heavy Storm and one Mystical Space Typhoon, more spell and trap removal. Really useful. Of course, sometimes this is like a game winner too, because you can clear out stuff and then run for it. But some people don't set more than one card, so Heavy Storm may not be that useful. But there are situations where you cannot set only one. I've seen recently people play only saying that setting more than one card is bad. That goes to Sam Hecox and Yugi Nono. I've seen also basically Yugi Nono play no Heavy Storm in this Beast Down deck, which is a big mistake. Because playing none of this makes your opponent setting cards for free. And also, there are situations where you cannot not set more than one card. There's not a situation where it's always wrong to set a second card. People forget this. So Heavy Storm is actually useful in this regard. You can push for a game, even though just having this in the deck as a threat to your opponent, that you can basically not set that many cards as you like, is important. Because if your opponent has seen this, or you have Magician of Faith, you can recover this. Your opponent will most likely play differently. But if you're never going for this, and you're basically saying also, like in the internet, that you're not using it because, yeah, you don't need it, I think it's just the wrong statement. Because, like, imagine you having face down goats and you want to have a face down monster here and you want to protect it. Like sometimes they play like Spell Shield, type 7, I think Spell Shield type 7, and you want this Magician of Faith to go through. And you can basically just let Scapegoats set here and not set Spell Shield, but you cannot protect your Magician of Faith. And also, you can also have these kind of situations where you want to protect with Sakuretsu or with Mirror Force because you have Tsukiyomi in your hand and you want to use it in the next turn. So saying you can only set one only ever, this is just not correct. One Lightning Vortex, yeah, discarding is no problem. Also, destroying monster cards as a mass destruction is really useful. Another power card, Nobleman of Crosshearts, really important. You want to dodge this, you wanna play around this from your opponent because you don't want your big power cards to get banished. You don't want Magician of Faith to seize on this banish pile. You want him to stay alive. And then we play 4 of the best trap cards of this format, called Mirror Force, Torrential, and Ring of Destruction. Everybody plays them. Really useful. And this deck does not play Book of Moon. This deck does not play Scapegoats. Scapegoats are not needed in this deck because you don't play in a control deck, you play in really aggressive, fast deck. Book of Moon, sometimes I would like to play one because Book of Moon actually can alter the duel in a way that it can counter Thousand Edges Restrict really good, and it also is like a second Tsukiyomi, but Tsukiyomi of course is always recyclable, going back to the hand, usable again. But Book of Moon as an answer card against opponent's play is really useful. And but I decided not to play Book of Moon because Chaos Sorcerer and BLS, they can basically get rid of Thousand Edges Restrict. So you have to make some kind of, I would say, card choices that you leave out, because Book of Moon would be an answer card, but Chaos Sorcerer in PLS are basically the cards that bring back the game in your favor. So losing out on Book of Moon is kind of not good, but you have to make some cuts. Okay, I think that's it. These are 4D cards. This is the deck profile. I hope you enjoyed it. If you disagree with a few things, let me know in the comments. I would like to discuss it. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Peace out, guys.